Hi everyone, Tom back here for Animal Soul. Change of scenery today. I'm in my friend's office while I'm off. So yeah, very executive, very professional. I've always wanted to be in this chair of power, and I'm in one now. So yeah, relishing it. Bosh. What we saying, Alan? You're fired. Anyway, so this next blog for Animal Soul is going to be covering macronutrients, nutrition. Going to be doing it again as like a mini series, same as I did with the energy systems. Going to be doing it with this one. There's going to be 3 of them in the bottom. Excuse me, thumb, by the way. I took it off. Actually cut the top of my thumb off earlier, chopping some peppers while meal prepping, and I've now got a flat top thumb. So yeah, great start to my day. But anyway, sorry. There's going to be 3 videos in this series again. So, what are macronutrients as an intro? So, macronutrients are basically the 3 groups of what you can put foods into to class them. So, macronutrients, well, in terms of macronutrients, you can put them into 2 groups, There's macronutrients and micronutrients. Now, macronutrients are needed in large amounts. These are carbs, fats, and proteins. And then you've got micronutrients, which you don't need in as high dosage, but they're still essential, and that's your vitamins and minerals. Macronutrients provide the body with energy, but they're also crucial for many other things like insulating yourself against the cold temperatures, i.e. having a bit more body fat on the body. Make sure that all the cells in the body work. So this is all from make sure digestion is working correctly, that your hormones are in balance, that you've got even things like healthy skin, healthy hair, healthy fingernails, all general things like that, and feeding the microbes in your gut. So basically, like I said, there's 3 groups in the macronutrients, so carbs, fats, and proteins. And this video today will be covering carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are molecules that the body uses as main source of energy. They are vital for health. So this is basically, we use glucose as energy. Carbohydrates supply the body with glucose, which your cells use as a fuel, and certain complex carbohydrates like fibre also feed your gut with the microbiome. That's to obviously aid digestion, have a healthy digestion system, make sure it's working correctly. It ensures more efficient digestion and breakdown of the food you consume. These molecules can be found in a wide variety of foods, but not all are the same when it comes to health. So there are 3 types of main dietary carbohydrates that you can have for different functions in your body. So the first type, sugars. Sugars like glucose, fructose, sucrose, and are simple carbohydrate molecules. They're easily absorbed by the cells around your body, which use them for fuel. The second source are starches, and starches are complex carbohydrate molecules. They take longer to digest because your body must break them down into simple sugars before your cells can use them for energy. This means that the energy from starches is released more steadily into the blood. And then the last source, which is fibre. And fibre is a type of carbohydrate molecule that humans can't digest. There are lots of different types of fibre molecules. The microbes in your gut break down fibre into short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs. These are important for your health, help with your blood sugar, blood fat, appetite control, and they feed your microbiome to boost your immune system. So, carbohydrates are essential. I've mentioned it in the past in some videos of low carbohydrate diets and my view on them. If you choose to follow a diet such as keto, which cuts out carbohydrates, that's your choice. I wouldn't consider it. That's just me. I like my carbs. I think they're great. Tasty, filling, give me my main energy source for me to keep up training. So that's why I keep them in my diet. Now, there are best sources of carbohydrates, or research says that these are the best sources of carbohydrates. So typically the best source of carbohydrates are in the unprocessed or minimally processed foods, which have been identified to be the most healthiest. This is because they typically have a mixture of sugars, starches, and fibre, plus vitamins and minerals, and many powerful plant antioxidants known as phytonutrients, which help prevent inflammation. So how much has a food been processed will have a different impact towards the macros in it, such as calories, the fats, the carb content, and how it impacts on the health. Ultra-processed foods are usually less nutrient dense because they've got high amounts of added sugar, salt, unhealthy fats, chemical additives, and the valuable nutrients tend to be lost through the processing measure. An example of a ultra-processed carbohydrate could be, for example, a slice of apple pie. So you've taken the apple, you put it down, broken it down into the additional ingredients of added sugar, butter that have been added. This does not come with the same health benefits as just eating an apple on its own, which has a high ratio of fibre and starch to sugar. So that's an example of processed foods. Another example of a processed carbohydrate is like a donut, for example. Heavily processed, a lot of added sugar to it. Tasty nonetheless, and perfectly fine to consume in moderation, but it's not like the main dietary staple choice for your carbohydrate source, ideally. So in other words, simple carbohydrates such as whole fruits and milk provide you with a number of different nutrients, but refined carbohydrates such as those found in processed foods just supply your cells with energy and not as much nutrient dense vitamins and minerals due to the processing. So high quality sources of carbohydrates, we've got whole grains, we've got fruits, we've got vegetables like potatoes, courgette, general fruits and vegetables. We've got legumes, so beans and pulses, and nuts and seeds, which also do contain protein, but are also a good source of carbohydrate. So when it comes to carbohydrates, you want to be choosing, ideally, the unprocessed or minimally processed foods. So, as I've said earlier, you want to be aiming to consume carbohydrates for your energy sources in as clean a way as possible for a well-balanced diet if you're aiming to ideally lose weight or stay in shape. Again, even if you're bulking, it's just good to give your body a better source of a naturally unprocessed material. By all means, this is not saying cut out any foods. I would not advocate that to anybody. You should be happy and you should be satisfied with your diet, but you've also got to be accountable for what you're consuming, how much of it you're consuming, and how often. So, if like for me, for example, I know that Saturdays is probably one of the longest days that I'll be very active, training first thing, working through the day. So when it comes to a bit later on in the day, I will have more carbs and some processed carbs. So for example, I'll have popcorn, may even have some cereal on my puddings, and they're just like treats that I will add on because I'll probably stack my calories through the week to give me that nice little buffer to treat myself on a Saturday. Whereas typically through the week, I'll be having minimally processed carbohydrates, so potatoes, pasta, rice, a lot of vegetables. So you can see I'm in moderation. I'm very happy with my diet, and it's important to put them in. So carbohydrates, if you're training regularly, put them in, the main source of energy via the glucose we get from them. And yeah, they're essential. So put them in your diet, guys. And obviously, this isn't say restrict yourself to having just a certain type or cutting any out. Everything's good in moderation, and it's important to put them in your diet so that it'll help you to adhere to it and stick to it for the long term. If you cut things out completely and you miss them, more than likely you will drop off the path and you'll just start wanting to binge on them, crave things that you've been depriving yourself of, and it's that typical case of yo-yo dieting where it's up here and then down here the next, and everyone's always up and down on the roller coaster ride. So make it easy, make it sustainable. It is a science, nutrition, but hopefully this has given you a bit of insight to carbohydrates. And me and my chopped off thumb will be back on the next one. Bosh, have a good one.